Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Countryman, I think to the chairman's question, you did say that China was committed to non-proliferation. With simply yes, is that correct?
That's the short answer.
And it kind of sounds like not a real accurate one.
As all short answers are, yes, sir.
You said that they are not controlling their exports of nuclear technology. Is that because they're unable or unwilling?
Well, first I would have to disagree that China is purely a command and control economy. It has a vibrant private sector. It is something of the Wild West in terms of being free from government regulation and government control. And in particular, the high-tech sector does aggressively seek other markets. And in addition, there's a number of Chinese businessmen who seek the opportunity to be brokers between North Korea or Iran and producers in China and elsewhere. And there are such brokers in other countries besides China. It's our assessment that the Chinese government simply does not have currently the bureaucratic enforcement capability and does not yet have all the legislation it ought to have in order to adequately control dual-use exports.
So your answer is they're unable to control the export?
My answer is that they have not yet committed the resources that would be necessary for an economy of that size and sophistication.
How difficult would it be for them, and how many resources would it take?
Sorry, I don't have a short answer to that one. More.
You seem to indicate in your testimony that if we don't move forward this, if we don't provide the technology, they'll just get it someplace else, and then we'll be on the outside looking in and we'll lose whatever influence we have. What are other alternatives in terms of supply?
Senator, there are a number of different countries which are in this market space. Countries that immediately come to mind are Russia, France, South Korea, Japan, all of which are looking for opportunities to pick up on the growing interest in using nuclear energy to solve energy demands in a number of countries, but also, as has been pointed out, to move to cleaner types of energy to deal with concerns about global climate change. So we are one of the most sophisticated, one of the most effective in terms of civil nuclear power industry, but there are other competitors out there.
How advanced is our technology in comparison to those other competitors? Are we a cut above? Is it all comparable?
Well, I'm chauvinistic enough to say that I think we're a cut above, but they are very sophisticated in terms of their technology, and the French, the Russians are succeeding in making sales of not only full reactors, but also of important components and services associated with civil nuclear industry around the world.
Are we a cut above significantly, and is that cut above significance, is it significant from a standpoint of military conversion?
Well, in terms of military conversion, one of the things that we look very, very carefully at under the existing 123 agreement, and one of the things that will be strengthened under the 123 agreement, is to look, the successor agreement, is to look very carefully at the information, the technology, the materials, the components which we as a government will review before we give approval for that to be transferred to China. One of the other things that comes up in this new successor agreement is the fact that both sides will sit down annually and review the inventory of all the shared U.S. and Chinese technologies and determine whether or not that ought to be renewed. So we go into this, I think, with eyes wide open, understanding the potential risk, but also balancing it against the potential benefits of being in this important and expanding commercial market.
Having come from the private sector and participating in it for over 30 years, actually exporting to China, reviewing or evaluating whether we should actually start an operation over in China, I've witnessed repeatedly Chinese companies reverse engineer and basically take over the manufacturing themselves. I would assume that would be certainly a risk. How quickly do you believe China could become self-sufficient?
I don't have a good answer for you on that, Senator.
I mean, my concern obviously
I mean,
is,
there are a lot of variables involved in the process in terms of moving forward. Our assumption is that even if they eventually start to manufacture more and more capability indigenously, there will still be a role for U.S. industry and the industry of other countries to participate in producing particular components that are necessary and providing particular after-sales services, both domestically in China and in those countries to which China might export reactor technology.
changing the direction a little bit, Secretary Countryman, can you just tell me a little bit about what China's attitude is toward the advancement in North Korea of their nuclear capabilities?
Very briefly, China says, and I think it's borne out by their actions, that they do not support North Korea as a nuclear weapon state, and that they wish to see the entire Korean peninsula denuclearized.
How much help has China given to North Korea over the years?
I don't know about long ago history, but in recent years, no indication that China is assisting the North Korean nuclear weapons program.
Okay, I have no further questions.